Our Bingocize site was Village Manor Christian Health Center, a very spacious yet inviting multifaceted facility. Village Manor is a 39-bed facility that is Bowling Green's only continuing care unit. It offers independent living, short-term rehabilitation, assisted senior care, memory care, and long-term nursing care. Having this versatility in care options makes Village Manor an optimal place of residence and more efficient at adapting to life's challenges.
Throughout our Bingocize project, we strive to gain a perspective on how aging affects different people, identify primary and secondary aging characteristics, and identify as well as implement examples of successful aging through means of physical activity and social interaction.
Residents involved in Bingocize got the opportunity to engage in physical activity in a safe and fun environment while also creating and maintaining social relationships with other residents and Bingocize group members. Even residents who were unable to or who lacked intrinsic motivation to complete physical activity still engaged in psychosocial interactions that benefited other levels of Maslow's hierarchy or needs rather than simply the physiological.
At the age of 30, sarcopenia naturally affects the body, and as displayed by the graph, by the time you're 65, percentages range from 8 to 27%. Physical activity aims at keeping that range in the lower percentile and building muscle where it was lost. This graph shows the relationship between inactivity and life expectancy. Individuals who are inactive are more than half as likely to have a shorter life expectancy than their active counterparts.
Despite the spacious interior, the work area given to our group was very small and we had to overcome a few cramping-related issues. The lack of space made it hard for patients to engage in lower extremity activities under the table, so most exercises had to be modified to target specific ranges of motion. The participants demonstrated active engagement on a social level prior to our group beginning the Bingocize project. Several distinct relationships were already established, which made recruiting participants relatively easy. Our site was already formally associated with the Bingocize program through means of grant research, making participants familiar with the program and protocols.
Our site coordinator and facility activities director Ann primarily set up the Bingocize table prior to our arrival and provided prizes for the residents. Ann also led Bingocize outside of our scope as part of the aforementioned grant. At each Bingocize session, we had a range of 6 to 10 participants. All participants remained in their wheelchair during the duration of the session according to the policies of the facility. This was accommodated by executing primarily upper extremity exercises. Lower extremity activity was performed by modifying exercise to focus more on muscular endurance rather than exaggerated range of motion. Lower extremity exercises that required a full range of motion were facilitated by moving the residents' wheelchairs out from under the table. Upper extremity exercises require certain finesse as not to hit neighbors, but the control needed to prevent this only heightened the complexity of the exercises and therefore better benefited our patients. It was also easier to facilitate range of motion exercises due to lack of obstruction. Residents who could not move their upper extremities through the full range of motion were encouraged to perform the exercises while staying within their range or gently and passively guided through the exercises. 3 to 4 exercises were performed after 5 to 7 bingo calls.
Since our participants were limited to mostly upper extremity activities, we did exercises such as bicep curls, wrist curls, finger countdowns, and arm raises.
We had our participants pretend to flip pancakes with their hands to imitate pronation and supination. While doing the bicep curl, we asked our participants to touch their hands to their shoulders. They were motivated by Ethan saying, "Curls for the girls."
Curls for the girls.
Here we had our participants pretend to rev a motorcycle in order to execute wrist flexion and extension. If this process was duplicated, we would execute a sitting and standing protocol where some group members would remain seated and others would stand. Through this system, residents would gain a better understanding of how to execute the movements. We found that with everyone standing the entire time, our participants had varying conceptions of the exercises.
We would also provide a wider scope of exercises. We chose to produce exercise plans using continuously performed exercises to ensure the comprehension of task and familiarity of the motor program for our residents. While this worked well for us and we adjusted for progression seamlessly, a wider range of exercises would enhance complexity of task.
You're part of the Bingocize grant. How long have you been
been doing Bingocize at this facility?
Well, I started here in February as the activities director in the health center, and the Bingocize was already established when I started working here. So I believe that they have began Bingocize this past August, so it would have been August 2017.
And how do you think that's positively affected your residents as far as on a physical level, but also on a social level?
Well, socially, our residents love to get together. We always have coffee and snacks, so that just brings everybody together. But then the Bingocize really helps them connect with each other as far as like their physical abilities. So one resident might be able to reach their arm all the way up to the ceiling, or all the way straight. And then another one might only be able to do it halfway, but there's a lot of encouragement between the residents of saying, it's okay, just do what you can, you're doing a great job. There's a lot of positive comments like that.
And is there a difference between when you're doing Bingocize with yourself and then when students come in and teach Bingocize?
Absolutely. I am all fun and games, and I know they enjoy my company, but you all just bring an extra bit of life. I think they really enjoy y'all coming.
As a group, we not only got the unique experience of implementing Bingocize, but we established genuine connections with each participant that we will never forget. It turned something we had to do for our class into a valuable experience that will benefit our future endeavors.
We not only gained knowledge and skills working with older adults, but we felt that we made an impact in their lives as they did in ours. We have learned and will be able to improve from this practical experience and take it with us into the exercise science field.